The World Association for Sustainable Development is in its 7th year. Might we start by one of you explaining how it all began and who were the original parties involved?
Well, thank you very much, first of all, for the opportunity to be here and for this interview. The World Association for Sustainable Development, as you mentioned, this is our 7th international conference. We started back in 2000. A conference was organized in Pakistan at Karachi University, and there were experts from all over the world, and we were discussing issues about the need for information and literature and then body of knowledge about sustainable development. And that idea then formulated more formally in our first meeting in London in 2003. Then it became a regular event. 2004 we went to Edinburgh, and then 2005 we went to Al-Ain in the United Arab Emirates, and then in 2006 we went to Italy, University of Naples, and 2007 we went to Australia, and 2008 we went back to Brighton, and this year we're here in Bahrain. So the idea is all around why we're traveling so much, because we believe the issues of sustainable developments, while they are global, but they do require local actions. So we believe in global issues to tackle sustainable development, or all issues to do with sustainability, but they also need local actions. And by going to different continents and different places, we learn more about the local approach in tackling these issues.
And so the purpose of the WASD conferences is to...
The purpose of our conferences, we have started, as I said, for 7 or 8 years, looking at issues of sustainability from a multidisciplinary approach. So number one is to bring different disciplines, different thinking about the topic, how do they somehow or another contribute to achieve sustainable development. And that means we have to bring scientists on technology management front, public health experts, finance, economists, education, knowledge, people about ICT, and so on and so forth. And the second objective is to try to help through a framework people from the developing countries, the poor countries, also enable them to attend these conferences. And we have a program every year. We try to have people shortlisted for who should be supported financially to come and attend this conference. So we don't want to be holding the conferences while people from poor countries, they cannot attend. So we have been, and this year, also with the support of Ahlia University, we have been able to bring, I think, around 15 from developing countries under the sponsorship program. And the third objective is to try to establish a network of experts from across the developing and developed countries. So we believe the issues of sustainability are not just for the poor, but also for the rich. We had an example in the United Kingdom 2 years ago. If you remember, we have been running short of water. We went to Australia 2007, and we have been told you have to make your shower only 5 minutes because there's not much water. So the problems are global, and that's why we try also to bring that to people understanding. We need to work together. So that's what is happening, and that's why I think there's people in this conference are coming from all over the place this year.
This year's conference is entitled The Impact of Global Financial Crisis on the Environment, Energy and Sustainable Development. Dr. Roubaie, might you speak to how the financial crisis has affected our environment globally as well as locally?
This concept of sustainable development has become so important because almost 80% of the world population, they live in the developing countries. And when we speak about sustainable development, we mean development for the 80% of the world population. And it is a noble idea because it is based on the assumption that the developing countries, if they ever be in a position to make progress, then development has to come from within. And that's why sustainable development will empower the people in the developing countries to make progress and to achieve the ultimate objectives of human as well as economic and social developments. That's why the concept is very important, and a conference like this will highlight the importance of, let's say, the challenges that facing many of the developing countries, including the food, agriculture, industry, water, environment, and these are all important issues attached to the subject of sustainable development. Now, the last 2 or 3 years, then, because of the financial crisis, the financial crisis, of course, is becoming a global economic crisis, which simply means that the crisis will be affecting everybody, and in particular those people in the developing countries. Now, to achieve sustainable development, you need to have an institution. So the institutional structure of any society is crucial and critical. But you can achieve that with the financial resources that needed in order to help sustaining development in these countries. Many of the poor countries, they are hard hit. Now, if we look at the flow of capital into these countries, if you look at the export and import in these countries, if we look at the foreign direct investment and all the financial assistance coming to these countries, they are all affected because of this financial crisis that is influencing and affecting everybody in the world.
Please describe what is meant by sustainable development.
To give a simple answer of what is exactly sustainable development means so far, what we have realized, it is a multidisciplinary process by which different disciplines and activities within the globe could all together work to achieve one aim, which is like what Professor Roubaie earlier said, is linking the current with the future, but also thinking of the past, because we can learn from the past. So in simple answer, we can achieve a sustainable future if we all work together. That include politicians, include educators like ourselves in universities, include industries using sustainable methods of production and manufacturing, include tourism agents, for example, or tourism industry, making sure they can conserve what is being used by holiday makers and so on, include people like in the far front of social science, changing the behavior of individuals. So it's not going to work if we're still going to throw plastic bags after we use them. So it's a combination of every discipline working together in a multidisciplinary process to achieve that goal of making the future as prosperous as we are now enjoying it.
Thank you. So who are the people or institutions that are most affected by the global crisis?
I think if you come to individuals or institutions, it depends on how do you look at it. If you look at it from countries' perspective, then you could easily say developing countries are most likely the ones who have been severely affected by this crisis. But again, when you say that, you have to be very careful, because we now, for example, in the UK, we have millions of people who are now jobless. They're not having any work to do. Those who work as workers in manufacturing, in car industries, America is another example. So if to answer your question, I think individuals could be individuals anywhere, whether they were poor or not, they have been heavily affected. Again, in institutions, although so far the trend is public institutions have not been affected seriously as manufacturing sectors or our holiday sectors or other kind of sectors, because we still need the teachers, we still looking after educators, we still need the public health services. So, but generally speaking, globally, everyone is being hit somehow or another, because car manufacturing in the UK or in Germany is not just affecting those who are working in those plants, but it's affecting some or a family or a worker, say, in South Africa, because they're the plant for Volkswagen in South Africa. So it does affect anyone, I think, somehow or another.